Good day everyone, I am Muhammad Malna and I will be presenting the second part of our topic in secondary treatment of wastewater. Since Mr. Season has already covered the foundational concepts, including the definition, principles, and common biological treatment process, my discussion will focus on additional aspects that were not covered. These include alternative secondary treatment systems, key factors that influence their efficiency, real-world applications, and emerging trends in wastewater treatment. So let's begin. Now let's discuss the other types of secondary treatment systems that are used worldwide. Each system has unique characteristics that make it suitable for different situations. So first is the rotating biological contractor or RBC. This system consists of large rotating disks that are partially submerged in wastewater. As these slowly rotate, they alternately get exposed to air and water, allowing bacteria and microorganisms to grow on their surface. These microbes break down organic pollutants as the disks continue rotating. RBCs are known for their energy efficiency since they do not require excessive aeration like the activated sludge process. This method is commonly used in small to medium-sized wastewater treatment plants, especially in areas with limited space. For example, some rural communities use RBCs because they are relatively easy to maintain and compared to other systems. Next, we have sequencing batch reactors, or SBRs. Unlike continuous flow systems, SBRs operate in a batch process, meaning they treat wastewater in different stages within the same tank. The treatment cycle consists of five main phases: filling, aeration, settling, decanting, and idling. One of the advantages of SBRs is their flexibility. They can be adjusted to handle varying wastewater loads. This makes them useful in industrial applications, such as in food processing plants, where wastewater composition changes daily. However, because SBRs require careful timing and control, they may not be the best option for facilities that need a constant, continuous flow of treated water. Another advanced system is the membrane bioreactor or MBR. This combines traditional biological treatment with membrane filtration, which removes even the smallest suspended particles and bacteria. The result is highly quality treated water that can often be reused. MBRs are commonly used in highly regulated industries such as the pharmaceutical and hospital sectors, where wastewater must meet strict safety standards before being discharged. However, one major drawback of MBR is their high operational cost, mainly due to membrane fouling, which requires regular cleaning and maintenance. Lastly, we have constructed wetlands, which are engineered systems that mimic natural wetlands to treat wastewater. This system use plants, soil, and microorganisms to break down pollutants. For example, in some rural areas or developing countries, constructed wetlands are used to treat wastewater in a more natural and sustainable way. Plants like reeds and cattails help absorb excess nutrients, while microbial activity in the soil degrades organic matter. Although this system requires a large land area, it has the benefit of low maintenance costs and provides additional environmental benefits, such as creation for wildlife. Now that we've covered different types of secondary treatment systems, let's compare them based on key factors such as aeration needs, land requirements, energy consumption, effluent quality, and maintenance. This comparison will help us understand which system is best suited for different situations. As you can see from the chart, choosing the right secondary treatment system depends on space, energy use, treatment needs, and maintenance. MBRs are best for high-quality treatment in limited space, while constructed wetlands offer a low-cost, eco-friendly option. Trickling filters provide simple, low-maintenance treatment, and RBCs are great for small to medium plants with lower energy needs. SBRs handle variable wastewater loads, making them ideal for industrial use. Each system has unique benefits, helping facilities choose the best fit for their needs. Now, let's take a closer look at the key factors that influence the effectiveness of secondary treatment systems. The reason why temperature and pH affect wastewater treatment is that microorganisms used in biological treatment are sensitive to environmental conditions. For instance, if the wastewater is too cold, microbial activity slows down, reducing treatment efficiency. Similarly, if the pH is too acidic or too alkaline, it can kill the bacteria that break down pollutants, disrupting the entire treatment process. The reason why organic load matters in wastewater treatment is that some wastewater contains a high concentration of organic material, such as food waste from restaurants or slaughterhouses. In these cases, traditional treatment systems may struggle to keep up with the increased demand for treatment, requiring advanced methods like membrane bioreactors to effectively handle the extra load and ensure proper wastewater treatment. The reason why oxygen availability is critical in biological treatment processes is that aerobic processes such as the activated sludge process and rotating biological contractors rely on the oxygen to support microbial activity. If oxygen levels drop, the breakdown of organic matter slows down, leading to poor treatment performance and inefficient wastewater management. The reason why sludge management is a vital part of wastewater treatment is that treatment systems generate sludge as a byproduct, which must be properly disposed of to avoid secondary pollution. Some facilities use anaerobic digestions to convert sludge into biogas, creating an additional energy source and reducing the environmental impact of disposal. Now let's discuss the advantages and challenges of secondary treatment. One major benefit is its ability to remove 85 to 90% of organic pollutants, making wastewater much safer before discharge. This process also eliminates harmful bacteria, preventing waterborne diseases and protecting public health. Furthermore, treated wastewater can be reused for irrigation and industrial purposes, reducing the demand for fresh water. However, there are some challenges to consider. Many systems, especially those using aeration, consume a significant amount of energy. Sludge management is another concern, as excess sludge must be properly treated to avoid environmental risk. Additionally, maintenance and infrastructure costs can be high, making advanced treatment systems difficult to implement in some areas. Despite these challenges, ongoing improvements in technology and sustainable practices continue to enhance the efficiency and cost effectiveness of wastewater treatment. To better understand how secondary treatment works in real life, let's look at some examples. In large cities, wastewater treatment plants typically use a combination of activated sludge and membrane bioreactors to meet strict environmental standards. For example, in many urban areas, treated wastewater is safely discharged into rivers or used for irrigation in parks and landscapes. These systems help manage the high volume of wastewater generated daily. Industries like food processing and pharmaceuticals produce wastewater with high organic or chemical content. For instance, breweries generate wastewater rich in sugars and organic matter, which can overload regular treatment systems. To handle this, they often use sequencing batch reactors or anaerobic digesters, which break down the waste efficiently while sometimes even generating biogas as a byproduct. Now let's take a look at some of the promising innovations shaping the future of secondary treatment. Advanced biofilm systems. One exciting advancement is the use of biofilm systems. These systems utilize special surfaces where microorganisms can attach and grow, making the microbes more efficient at breaking down pollutants. This leads to faster treatment times. For instance, instead of using large tanks, biofilm can be placed on smaller surfaces, speeding up the process and saving valuable space. Energy efficient aeration technologies. Another important trend is energy efficient aeration. Traditional aeration systems require a lot of electricity to add oxygen to wastewater. However, new designs are focused on reducing energy consumptions while still providing enough oxygen for bacteria to break down waste. For example, some newer systems use less power, cutting down electricity costs and reducing the plant's environmental impact. AI and automation. Lastly, the use of AI and automation in transforming how wastewater treatment plants operate. Smart sensors and AI can monitor systems in real time, making automatic adjustments to things like oxygen levels and chemical dosing. For example, AI can detect inefficiencies and make immediate changes to ensure the systems is running smoothly, improving performance and saving time. These innovations are making wastewater treatment more efficient, cost-effective, and sustainable for the future. So that's all for the topic of secondary wastewater treatment. Thank you for listening. I hope this presentation has helped you understand the importance of secondary treatment and its critical role in protecting our environment. Proper wastewater management not only ensures that our water sources stay clean but also supports sustainability for future generations. Let's all do our part in conserving water and being mindful of how we treat it. Once again, thank you, and I hope you gain some valuable insights on my report. So my conclusion for this topic is that secondary wastewater treatment plays a crucial role in keeping our water sources clean and safe. Seen in the images, proper treatment transforms polluted water into clean, usable water, protecting both nature and public health. But I wonder, what if we take more action? What if we invest in better treatment facilities, for strict regulations, and become more responsible in how we use and dispose of water? Just like in the Philippines, many rivers and coastal areas suffers from pollutions due to untreated wastewater, but change is possible. Water conservation is also key. Every drop we save reduces the strain on treatment systems. If we just start making better choices today, we can ensure a cleaner and more sustainable future for the next generation. And that's it.